Okay, so it's a Sunday. I'm going to make another project. Figure I'd do a video. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, and I've been saving these for a while. Now, if you're wondering, where do you keep all these things that you hoard? Like, your house must be a mess. Well, it is kind of a mess right now. I'm in the middle of making some sweets and it's splattering everywhere. But like, I'll tell you this, to me in my house, and this is in my house and my mother's house and my grandmother's house, it's always been this way. These two little cabinets above the stove are never ever used. So this is what I do whenever I finish a wine glass or something, because I like to recycle stuff. I just throw everything up here. No one knows. This is where I keep all my recyclables. I keep, because I buy wine a lot because I make a lot of sauces with wine. I keep all my corkscrews in there, or my cork tops in there, wine bottles. No one knows. Because like I said, we don't have any use for that except for throwing all my hoarding junk in there. So anyways, as you accumulate these, or as I accumulated these, I did rinse them somewhat, but now that I'm actually going to use them, I'm going to wash them a little bit more, because if you smell, and the thing is, when you go to the grocery store, I don't know if anyone noticed this, but like sometimes you can smell fruity aromas going down the aisle that sells these. Now you might think, oh, that's great. That's because the fruit juice is really aromatic or good for you or something. No, that's probably mainly because someone punctured a hole in one of these bags and some of the juice is fermenting and rotting while it sits on these shelves. Makes sense to me, should make sense to you. So now that I've already rinsed these, before, what I did is I opened all the bottoms. Like, all of mine have the bottoms cut open, and I rinsed them, right? But now that we're going to use them for bags, let's go ahead and give them another good rinse. I'm going to wash them and then fill up my sink with some water and let them sit in some diluted bleach. I'd say like a 1/4 cup bleach. Fill most of your sink with water, try and dilute it pretty well, but just to kill any germs or kill any fermentation that's still occurring in any of these bags, just so that way your bag doesn't smell like that and make your belongings smell like that when you put the bag to use finally. So let's go ahead and get these cleaned out, and then we'll proceed with the next step. So now that we have everything cleaned and dried, I did have to go back with each and every one of these packets and kind of stuff them with a paper towel, because even though they're on my dry rack, they still didn't really dry much. So that's kind of an extra step that I had to do. It's kind of a pain in the butt, especially since I had a lot of these, but it's just something that you have to do. You can't have wet stuff stay wet, it starts to mold and all that stuff. So just reiterating what I said earlier, I wash them, rinse them again, then I let them soak in a bleach dilute in my kitchen sink, just to kill any germs, kill any of that fruity fermentation smell, and then I dried them on the inside with the paper towel. So I had 26 after I washed, because I found a few more in that little weird cabinet that I was talking about earlier. So I'm gonna now take this idea and kind of run with it. You can make it a little bit smaller, you can make it even bigger. Of course, you'll just need way more Capri Sun packs than I had. So with this, let me see here. So I have 20 packs for this. We're going to do a small gym bag. I know there's lots of tutorials over the web how to do the totes or backpacks or small lunch bags, which I love. Believe me, I've made those and they work so good. The Kool-Aid packs, these things are actually really good insulators. I love them. But I wanted to do something different, so I'm going to do a smallish type of gym bag that we could use. So I used 20, and this is how I'm laying them out. Now, if you do have quite a bit different ones, like I do have quite a variety here, now this isn't going to be the final one. I think what I'm going to do is take the white Juicy Juice packs and kind of alternate them and try and make like a cool pattern, because I do have two more of those right here. So I'm going to see if I can make a pattern, because you want it to look well thought out. You just don't want it to look thrown together. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Also for the materials, I got some leftover ones here just in case. Again, the official material list will be in the description. This is just kind of what I'm thinking of at the moment because I'm going to make it right now. Your scissors, a sewing machine. I really wouldn't do this without a sewing machine. You're just going to poke yourself. You really need to have a sewing machine. Have a heavy jean needle, heavy duty needle, and some heavy weight thread. Let me see, where does it say it? Oh, it doesn't say it on this one, but this is a Gutermann. It's a heavy type thread, as you can see how thick that is. I've done it with regular thread before, but I just think that will keep it's just a little bit stronger. And again, if you're gonna be using a really big, thick needle, because I believe that this project calls for that, then you're gonna need some heavy duty type threading. Also, I'm going to use some fabric for the sides, which will be the circular part of the gym bag. I didn't want to do it completely in Kool-Aid packets. I thought maybe if I do fabric on the side, it'll make the bag a little bit softer, and then you can put odd shaped things in the bag, and at least the fabric will kind of stretch with it a little bit. Also a zipper. So you'll want to measure how wide your bag is going to be at the top. Mine's about 16 inches, but I only had a 12-inch one, but that's okay because even with gym bags, sometimes there's still a space like between here and here that doesn't have the zipper. So that doesn't bother me at all. If it bothers you, then get the right length of zipper. And then of course, measuring tape. So now when we get started, let's go ahead, thread our machine, get the right needle on there, get it started. And then we're going to, let me show you here, overlap each one by one, like overlap it and then sew it, and then overlap this one and sew it. And then once you have a whole long section, do the same thing with the other ones. And then once you have all the long sections done, then you can start overlapping them this way and sewing them. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like right now. Let me go ahead and sew all this stuff together. Okay, so I rearranged my pattern, and so let me just go kind of show you what I mean by overlapping them. So you're gonna get this and make sure, and I like this part because it kind of gives you like a direction on where you should stop so it's even. So I always stop this part by like this line right here. So this, I'm going to just overlap. I already have my thick, I used a leather needle. My machine takes a size 16, and then I have my thick. And then also you want to have it set on a much wider thread. You don't want to have really tiny stitches, because then you could just make a bunch of little holes, and then it becomes corrugated and it becomes weak, and eventually it tears. Okay. And in case you're wondering, I do have normal all-purpose thread in my bobbin right now. It's just the top, because for some reason my machine, it won't let me thread really heavy thread in the bobbin. Some machines can, but mine's old, and yeah, so just to let you know. And just for added protection here, because I'm just nuts like that, I'm gonna come back around and I'm gonna fix my tension, and then I'm gonna do another stitch on top. Now that I've come to the end, I'm going to pull and snip, and you can see how big my stitches are. So you want them about that big. And then just keep doing it like how I was, until you're able to sew together the whole entire bag. And then once we're done with that, then I'll go ahead and show you how we're going to do the sides with the fabric and putting on the handle and zipper and all that stuff. Okay, so let me finish here, and we'll we'll go for it. Okay, so here's the whole thing all sewn together. At this time, before we continue, I just want to make sure sometimes when you do this, like, see, it's not exactly matched up correctly, you know, which is fine, but I mean, whatever, it doesn't bother me too much. But because of that, you'll probably have some pieces that are longer than the others. So before we go any further, I already did this, kind of just even out by cutting them, and it cuts really easy with your scissors. Just kind of even it out so everything is the same length, because when we put our zipper, we have to make sure that everything's just the same length, so that way when we're opening and closing it, there's no longer unleveled parts that are going to be getting our zipper thing here stuck when we're opening it. So just go ahead and level that off right now. Then we're going to put one part of our zipper in. I'm going to put it on top like this instead of being hidden. So I'm going to put it, again, following the line of the Capri Sun bag, about right here. And I'm going to sew it all across. And then I'm going to bring it back over and sew the other part of the zipper to it. Hopefully that shouldn't be too hard. Sometimes you gotta like crush it and roll stuff because there's not a lot of space, as you can see here, and the bag gets kind of big. So if you kind of just keep that in mind as you're sewing, you gotta kind of curl things up and roll them. You should be able to get through it fairly easy, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's attempt, so I already put on my zipper on one side, so let's fold it over and let's try and sew that to that, and then we can put the sides. See, I'm kind of, as I'm moving this part, I'm kind of feeling around where the edge of this is, because again, I don't want it too close to the teeth of the zipper. Okay, so I've gotten that far. I'm gonna go ahead and change directions since it's open on the other side of the zipper. See now, hard part's over. Now I'm just kind of squishing. Ah, string came out. Hold on. See, and this will happen sometimes too. It'll ball up. And see, this last part wants to slip out, so I'm just gonna push it back in, back a little bit. And then at this point, just kind of clean up all the strings that you've made. You don't want anything long that shouldn't be long, because again, it just sucks when things get stuck in your zipper, and I know you've had that happen before with anything. See? There you go. Just kind of roll it out so we can get, so here's the outer part of it basically. All right, so now let's work on that part. Okay, so real quick, I did one side of my bag, as you can see here. The circle was a little bit bigger, but you know what? That's okay, because I just kind of like sewed down a dart, and that's good because it gives you extra room in case you have, you know, more stuff so you could pack in your bag. So let me just show you real quick. So I'm going to, now this side was a little bit harder because I couldn't open this side of the zipper. So this part should be much easier because I'll just go ahead and open this, and then I'll have much more room to mess with. Now you can use any type of fabric, but I had leftover PUL fabric from another project. It was just like a scrap piece. PUL is basically what they use for when you do reusable diapers, what else? Just utility bags, like things that you don't want water or anything to like go through. So it has like this plasticky film on the inside, and then it's just soft on the outside. So I'm gonna put the plasticky part on the inside of the bag and this cotton part on the outside. Because again, if you're gonna use this as a gym bag, it would be nice just to have something that's waterproof, or even not a gym bag, but like a beach bag. So in case you have wet stuff, like you don't have to worry about it getting out of the bag and wetting other bags around you in your car or whatever. And then what's nice about that too is like on the inside, I was just thinking that right now, like especially if you take it to the gym and there's like, you know, germs and stuff, you could easily wipe this with one of those Clorox wipies, and the same with this, and it would be much easier to do that than just try to wash it. And I don't know, that's what I think. So let's go ahead. So I have one part of the circle down. I just started in some random area of the bag. So I'm just going to slowly sew, and then as I'm sewing, kind of pulling, so that way the circular part that I cut out meets the edge of the Capri Sun bags. And then just keep kind of doing that. And then, like I said, if you did cut the circle out a little bit bigger than the diameter of the bag, again, no worries. All you can do is do like a dart, which is like, this is just an example. I'm not going to do it right here, but kind of pick this up like in a little triangle, and then fold it down and then sew over it to make it fit your bag. And of course, if you don't want to do that, then you want to obviously cut the circle out to the exact size of your bag. See, and then sometimes they'll get stuck. So you just got to kind of mess with it, fix your thread. I mean, it's just one of those things. And then I'll just keep sewing, and then after we're done putting this side, then we'll go ahead and worry about the handles. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here with the straps is with the leftover pieces that I had in the beginning. Remember, I had like several leftover, not several, I think I had like 5 leftover packs that I didn't end up using for the gym bag. I decided to use them to make straps. So I sewed all of them, as you can see, lengthwise, and then I cut it in half. And then with my machine, then I folded this down. And with your biggest stitch, just stitch all of this down all the way, which comes out like this. And let me just tell you, I used 1, 2, 3, 4. I used 5 Capri Sun bags, which gives me 26 inches for the strap. So now with my bag done, then I'm going to evenly measure out 2 points in the bag, so I have 2 equal points, which will probably be here and here. And then I'm going to sew down my straps on this side and then on that side, and then I will be done. Okay, so let's go ahead and attach them. And how awesome is that? There it is. Just a few things before we go. I attach the straps. Now, always when you do the straps, do the X. As you can see here, the X is good. The X is strong. You want to do that with every type of bag that you do or anything that has handles, because the X is, you know, it keeps everything strong, especially if you're going to be holding stuff in here that might be relatively heavy. The X will reinforce and take all that tension so it doesn't rip. Okay, here are my sides. It's got the zipper. You can zip it open. I love this bag. I haven't seen anything like it on Pinterest or YouTube. So hopefully this is something new for everyone. With the pattern that I ended up choosing, because I did not have enough of the Juicy Splashers, I just put them on each side. So there it is. Same thing on that side. Again, if you don't want to do the straps in leftover Capri Sun bags, you can certainly use fabric, you know, just fold it or buy ribbon. It's not a must. You can definitely get real creative with this. Also, if you want to take it up another notch, you could maybe put a pocket here, or what else? I mean, the sky's the limit. So just take this idea, run with it. I hope everyone liked this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.